Hey everyone, welcome back. So I hope you guys are having a great Father's Day. So today's Sunday, obviously, and we have, well, a couple of things to talk about. One is obviously what happened on the markets on Friday. We had Bitdeer go up over 50%. We'll take a look at what the heck that actually means. And then the markets, well, they were kind of down actually on Friday, and then Bitcoin was well, take a look at it. But miners were also kind of up on Friday as well, so we'll take a look at that. And then we'll also take a look at the Bitcoin versus the Bitcoin miners for the past week. See which ones did better than Bitcoin, which ones did worse, how much they were up, and everything else. So as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice. For entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And then if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out. And let's take a look at the markets here really quick. What happened on Friday and with Bitcoin going on today. So S&P was down 0.37%, Dow Jones was down 0.32%, Nasdaq was down 2%. So Nasdaq had a pretty rough day on Friday. And looking at Bitcoin right now, Bitcoin was up quite nicely on Friday. It was up approximately 2.97%. It closed at 26,329. It was up yesterday as well. It was up 0.67% to close at 26,506. And today we are kind of down a little bit, 0.21% to 26,450 roughly. And I still think that we are going to be going down even more. And the reason I say that is because if we look at the price where it is right now, we are about the same spot that we were back here. You can see the RSI at that point was at 44. We are now at 49. So RSI is higher, price is the same. And we're still seeing the same thing even if we go back here. Price was higher at that point. Going further back, we can go back here. Price was higher at that point as well. So we still have that downward trend. We're going to be going down, I think, unless something really changes here. If you look at the RSI on the 4-hour chart as well, the peaks right now, let's zoom this out a little bit. We can see that the RSI is at 57. Last time we were pretty close to that over here. Price was actually a little bit lower on the 4-hour chart. But if we go far enough back to maybe right around here, we can see that the price was actually higher at that point. So we still have that downward trend a little bit here. On the shorter time frame, it looks like things might be going up, but we'll see. On the 1-hour chart as well, if we look at it here, we can see, oh, we're getting a pretty big drop right now because Bitcoin, as you can see here, has been battling with basically the 20-day moving average, which is the yellow line here. And then we got the teal line here, which is the 50-day moving average. And we have the 200 weekly moving average here. And it's been battling between those pretty hard here, it looks like, over the last couple of days. But nonetheless, if we look at the RSI right now on Bitcoin's at 44. Last time we were back here, price was actually lower at that point. So it's kind of looking like we might be having a little bit of a reversal here. But in the daily chart, we're still showing that downward trend. We might be having just a little bit of a reversal here. Overall, I still think that we're going to be going down possibly to our support line, which is going to be, if we go to the daily chart, we can probably see it better here. It's going to be at the 23,800 line. You can see this trend line still happening going down. You can see it happening here as well. I'd like to see the RSI come down to at least the 30 mark here at that point, and then maybe bounce off of it. But I still think we're going to be coming down. Now, I hope I'm proven wrong on this. I would be happy if I'm proven wrong, but based on what I'm seeing here on the data right now, it just looks like we're going down still. When it's going to happen, don't know. Might be a couple of days, couple of weeks, but we are definitely going to be coming down, I think. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. Okay, so that's Bitcoin right there in a nutshell. Ethereum also, if we look at it, that one is battling right now with the 200 daily moving average, which is the blue line here. It fell below it the last couple of days and then bounced above it here in the last couple of days as well. So last week it basically went below it. This week it got back up to it and it's battling with it as well. If you look at the RSI here right now, it is at 41. Last time the RSI was at this range was right around here. Price was higher on that one as well. So I still think that we're going to be coming down, possibly testing the 200 weekly moving average, which is the red line here that we have. Okay, so that might be going down to about 1550 or so, somewhere around there, before everything is said and done. Okay, so that's it. Let's take a look at the miners, see how they did on Friday. We can see here that Annie was, or Sphere 3D, was down 1.61% here on the day. Argo was also down 4.63%. Bitdigital was up 8.04%, so had a good day there. Bitdeer, however, just skyrocketed here, up 50.93% on the day. There's a little new story that came out about them rebuying stocks back, but I didn't think that the amount they're buying back would have such an impact on the stock price on Friday, especially. Okay, but we'll take a look at it here in a minute. Bitfarms was up 1.74%. Cypher was up 22.49%. CleanSpark was up just barely 0.26% on the day. Cores was up 9.83%. DigiHost was up 5.71%. DMG was up 8.81%. Greenage was up also nicely, 21.94%. And they're kind of bouncing off of their bottom that they reached here just not too long ago, just this past week, which was, I believe, on Tuesday when they bottomed out here at roughly $1.58, and they were all the way up to $7.78. So they had a pretty hard slide here, but they're starting to bounce back off of that, which is more in line where they should be, and possibly a little bit higher as well. We got Hive. Hive was up 3.87%. Hut was up 11.11% as well. Iris Energy was up 3.64%. Marathon was up 6.62%. Mawson was down 0.4%. Rye was up 4.31%. Soluna was down 3.93%. Stronghold was down 0.74%. TerraWolf was up 10.61% as well. So they were up nicely for that day as well. Okay, let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick. See what's going on there. And this is on the 7-day average. The 7-day average has been coming down here a little bit to 382 million. And on the 1-day average, we got here, it's back down to 364 million. So we're still trending in the upwards direction, but much slower than we have been here from the beginning of the year, from January through May. I mean, we had a pretty huge increase here as far as, let's take a look at the 7-day average really quick. So from January, we were at roughly, in the 7-day average, we were at 222 million terahashes. And then by the end of May here, we ended up at at the beginning of May, we were at 356 million. So a lot was added definitely in that time span in the first half year. Okay, things seem to be cooling off a little bit here now in the second part of the year, but we'll see. Okay, now the only story that we do have here is on Bitdeer. So Bitdeer today announced that its board of directors has approved a share repurchase program under which the company may repurchase up to 1 million worth of its Class A ordinary shares effective through September 15, 2023. So within the next couple of months, they're going to be buying 1 million shares. But what does that actually mean for us or for the shareholders? Well, the shareholders, I can't believe that they increased the value of the company by 50% when really they haven't bought back the shares yet. Now the stock market, the value of the company right now is at 1.27 billion, which I think is just crazy right now a little bit, a little overhyped there. And that represents that they have about 110 million shares outstanding roughly based on the current stock price of it divided by the 1.27 billion. We're getting about 110 million shares. In order for them to buy back a million worth of shares now, it's only going to be like 88,000 shares that they're going to be buying back. Not a lot, possibly less than 1% of the company shares are going to be bought back. So, they're buying back less than 1%, but the stock goes up 50%. Doesn't really make much sense to me. Unless you guys have some other information on this, which I don't, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it, okay? That's just kind of looking at it the way I see it. Okay, so that's it. That's all we got for the news. Let's take a look at Bitcoin versus Bitcoin miners for this past week, see how they did. And this chart, as always, is the 52-week lows from the 52-week highs. So the greens are how far the miners are from their 52-week lows, which a lot of them kind of bottomed out here at the beginning of January. So a lot of these guys are up quite nicely. And then the red bars are how far they are away from their 52-week highs. So basically going back to last year. You can see some of these guys are getting pretty close to that. And we'll just go through this really quick here. So Core is up 826% so far this year. Cypher is up almost 700%. Bitdigital up 534. Digihost up 377%. Iris up 235. Marathon up 220. Riot up 220. Bitfarms 211. Hut 194. Argo 186. TerraWolf 170. Hive 136. CleanSpark 123. DMG 118. Moss 115. Bitcoin's only up 68%. So all of those miners have done better than Bitcoin here in the last basically 6 months. And Sphere 3D is up just only 21%. But then we know why, because they've had problems growing. So that's the reason. Now, as far as how far the miners are away from their 52-week highs, we can see that Cypher, Bitdigital obviously is pretty close. Bitcoin is also getting pretty close to that as well. Riot is only 27% away as well. So they're pretty close to that number that they were last year. And who else is getting pretty close? TerraWolf is pretty close to that, 32% away. So we're definitely getting closer and closer to those numbers that we saw last year on the stock prices for some of these guys. Okay, so here's the performance for this past week, how the miners did against Bitcoin. If we look at this, we can see here that Bitcoin was only up, well, it was down 0.58%. I'm tracking Friday to Friday on this. And then Riot, along with Digihost, were just up 0.68% for the week. CleanSpark was up 2.1%. DMG was 4.48%. Core was up almost 6%. Marathon was 6.4%. Hive was 7.3%. Bitfarms was 7.34%. Same as Hive, pretty much. TerraWolf was up 9.7%. Bitdigital was up 17.4%. Hut 8 was up 20%. So they were up nicely this past week. And then Cypher was up 32.61%. So they're definitely leading right now as it is. And then the ones that did the worst were Argo, Mawson, Sphere 3D, and Iris. You can see on the chart here. Let's take a look at the 4-week chart time frame as well, and we'll go through this really quick. Bitcoin is down 1.47%, so the following companies have done better than Bitcoin. You got Iris, Core, Mawson, DMG, Bitfarms, Hive, Marathon, Hut 8, BitDigital, and Cypher. The following companies have done worse, and that is DigiHost, TeraWolf, Riot, Sphere 3D, CleanSpark, and Argo. Go into the 8-week chart really quick as well. We can see that Bitcoin is down 10.27%. So the following companies have done better: DMG, Core, Marathon, CleanSpark, Hive, Bitfarms, Hut 8, Cypher, and BitDigital. The ones that did worse are Riot, DigiHost, Iris, TeraWolf, Mawson, Argo, and Sphere 3D. And then finally going to the 12-week chart as well. Do that really quick. From 12 weeks ago, Bitcoin is only down 7.55%. The following companies have done better: Hive, Riot, Iris, Marathon, Bitfarms, Hut 8, Core, Cypher, CleanSpark, TeraWolf, and BitDigital. The ones that did worse are DMG, DigiHost, Sphere 3D, Mawson, and Argo. Okay, so that's kind of how the things stack up right now. Depending when you bought any shares of these companies, you might be up, you might be down right now, depending when you bought them. Okay, looking at the chart over here, we can see that we had a pretty good week last week as far as the miners are concerned. We only had 1, 2, 3, 4 miners that were in the red, along with Bitcoin. Everybody else was in the green. We had the same thing, pretty close. Well, we had a little bit more red in the prior week if we go down here. Yeah, the week of 6/9, we had only, what was it? 1, 2, 3 miners that were in the green. Prior to that, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 miners that were in the red on the prior week. So you can see we're kind of going back and forth as far as which way the miners are going in price. All right, so that's it for the data here. Hope you guys have a wonderful Father's Day. Also, coming up here, I'm going to do another video after this one. It's going to be on the miners as far as where they could end up being next year. So I'm comparing Q1 results for their production, their cost, and then translating that over into possibly 2024 after the halving event. What are their costs going to be? How much are they going to be able to mine? Possibly if they have everything installed by that time, but that's already reported, right? Nothing that's, but we'll get into it in that other video. So this is going to follow this one after probably an hour or two when this one's up already, okay? So guys, hope you guys have a wonderful Father's Day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.